Meanwhile, could you imagine if climate changers had stuck with that global warming thing? Awkward. And to hear conservative syndicated columnist Jonah Goldberg, downright foolish too. Now, Goldberg got right to the heart of the matter last night at Bret Baier's show. I was watching this. It was incredible. He equated the Jonathan Gruber healthcare debacle with everything that is wrong with arrogant liberals and their supposedly unassailable views. But he said it far better than I. Listen to this.
Gruber's hardly a single incident. I think the whole global warming industry is full of Grubers. I think there's so much of American government that is full of Grubers. These allegedly objective consultants who are actually sort of rent-seeking remeras sucking on the side of the Leviathan and making money off of this stuff.
Man, does this guy have a way with words? Those comments have since gone viral. My jaw was dropping as I was listening to them. That's like I often do when I listen to you, my friend. Good to have you.
Great to be here, Neil.
But it's interesting. You made us think that, wait a minute, we're given a line that would supposedly everyone has to buy, and now we come back to find out that the original line was a lie, right?
Right. And look, it doesn't necessarily have to be. We can leave aside the veracity or how real the problem of climate change is or isn't and put it aside. You can still hold that the climate changers are true believers. But that doesn't mean they aren't deeply invested in the whole industry of global warming. When all of your grants to your university program depend on a state of national and international panic, when your business model depends not on satisfying the consumer, but fulfilling the regulations that come out of Washington, it's a natural human tendency to, as you business guys say, talk your book. And we see this across, GE lobbied passionately for climate change legislation and cap and trade, in part because they don't build oil wells, they build wind turbines.
Exactly,
and they were going to make
right.
a lot of money off of it.
But what did you mean when you said they've all been Grubered?
Well, I think that in every one of these industries, anywhere where the government is the real determinant of the profit motive, or your bottom line or your profit margin, when it's government policy and not satisfying the consumer, you open yourself up to a whole class of people who are financially incentivized to go one way. And so, look, I mean, take, for example, this whole 97% of scientists agree on global warming. That is an utterly fraudulent number. And it's been looked at, and it's just simply not true. But it's something that John Kerry and all these people say over and over again, because the whole point of this is to get one side to simply shut up. And that is what is so disgusting about this notion of settled science. Science, by definition, cannot be settled. Science is the practice of unsettling existing knowledge, of looking for new things that we don't know. And to say that it's settled science, that is basically a subsidy for a certain group of rent-seeking people who are looking to profit off of government action.
Just like it was settled science, if you think about it, back in the 70s when we were preparing with cover stories in Time and Business Week for the deep freeze and that the whole world was going to be a big old ice cap. That was then. That was the accepted wisdom then. But I think what you cut to the core here is this idea, and maybe we saw it with Gruber and the healthcare law, make the other side seem stupid by its opposition, and to try to minimize the debate by saying that if you debate it, you're an idiot.
Right. And this is what really disgusts me about this whole thing. One of my favorite phrases is to say, complexity is a subsidy. The more complex you make the marketplace, the more complex you make society, the more you are enriching the lawyers and the consultants and the people with the right Rolodexes who know how to manipulate the system. And so the problem with what Gruber was saying, it wasn't just that he was saying the people are stupid. He was saying, in effect, that we're going to make this system so complicated and impenetrable that you have to feel stupid by trying to figure it out. And then they back this up with the constant lying. President Obama in his press conference said, hey, look, we had this big debate. No one can say we didn't debate it. It's true, we debated a lot of this stuff, but one side was constantly lying. You can't have an honest debate if one side is lying.
It was well put, and it was certainly, you hit on a lot of the key areas. Jonah, you got a perfect score on your SATs, didn't you?
I wish I did.
All right, well, I enjoyed watching.
I did okay on the verbal, though.
I'm not surprised. Jonah Goldberg, you can catch him, obviously, at the American Enterprise Institute, a fellow there, and, of course, on Brett's fine show, where I caught this and marveled. Meanwhile.